Welcome to This Week in Taiwan. I'm Iris Xu. Every Saturday, we break down the biggest stories making headlines across the country. From politics and policy to culture and the unexpected. Whether you are tuning in from Taipei or halfway around the world, we've got you covered with what you need to know to stay in the loop. Taiwan is home to 23 million people, and you might think what happens on this small island doesn't affect you. But in reality, it is quite the contrary. From geopolitics to global supply chains, Taiwan is more connected to your life than you might expect. So let's get into this week's news and see just how interconnected we really are. Cabinet Secretary Gong Minxin took office as Economic Minister this Monday. Amid an ongoing and extended tariff negotiation with the United States, Gong acknowledged that increased tariffs could affect order blocks, but reassured that Taiwan has a path forward with strategies to respond to such changes. Gong, a former National Development Council Minister and Deputy Economic Minister, shared that the Economic Ministry will prioritize diversified revitalization programs for micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as support for traditional industries. He highlighted Taiwan's role in the global market, saying it already plays a crucial and indispensable role in high-tech, adding that the future calls for further extending such capabilities. Gong says relevant investments could also create significant business opportunities.
Although certain industries may face higher tariffs in the U.S. market than some competing countries, if these competitors seize the U.S. market, significant opportunities will emerge in non-U.S. markets, making it worthwhile for us to pursue diversified markets. Therefore, there are options and strategies to address any situation. This doesn't mean we're completely wiped out when tariffs are high. It depends on individual situations.
Gong shared that he was presented a gift by Premier Jerome when accepting the position. On the wrapping was the words "prioritize the economy, a long way to go," which Gong said added pressure to the role as he interpreted it as both a gift and a directive. President Lai Ching-te said national defense is not only the duty of the military but also a shared responsibility of the entire people. He urged everyone to remember the lesson that unity ensures victory, aggression leads to defeat, in order to safeguard national sovereignty, democracy, and freedom. On the eve of Taiwan's Armed Force Day, the Defense Ministry held a commemoration ceremony presided over by President Lai, who also presented awards to exemplary service members. He commended the recipients for embodying the honor, discipline, and responsibility of the armed force while shouldering the mission of defending the survival and development of the Republic of China. Lai noted that the current security environment is more severe than ever. He pointed out that the Chinese Communist Party continues high-intensity military aircraft and naval operations around the Taiwan Strait, combined with gray zone harassment and cognitive warfare tactics aimed at altering the status quo and weakening public confidence. This, he said, is not only a direct threat to Taiwan's democracy and freedom, but also a challenge to the broader democratic world. Since April, the government has increased allowances for volunteer service members and combat units, effectively boosting troop salaries. Lai added that the next year's defense budget will reach 3.32% of GDP in line with NATO standards, with the aim of raising it to 5% by 2030. The president underscored that strengthening combat capabilities remained the government's top priority by acquiring more advanced weapons and equipment through both domestic development and foreign procurement. Taiwan can demonstrate its determination to defeat any act of aggression and show the world its resolve to protect national security and maintain peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific. Military expert Gao Zhirong says the Chinese People's Liberation Army is likely to take up to 2 weeks to prepare and deploy 1/3 of its military capabilities for its invasion of Taiwan while reserving the rest for potential U.S. intervention. At a panel discussing China's military threats against Taiwan on Tuesday, Gao, an adjunct assistant research fellow at the Institute for National Defense and Security Research, former Mirage fighter pilot, and former 7th Wing Chief of Staff, conducted a briefing imagining a potential Chinese annexation. He believes China will first declare the invasion a civil war and intensely prepare its force for 2 weeks. After that, Gao says China would conduct high-intensity air raids to try to assert superiority in the air, then initiate a battle for control of the sea the following week. The panel was organized by Taiwan think tank and aimed to share different military experts' predictions and suggestions for Taiwan's strategic responses. Taiwan think tank director Liu Yaozhi says the situation in the Taiwan Strait has shown a steadily worsening trend. Former commander of the army Li Shangzhou was also present at the panel. Li warned that China is aiming to control the whole world. Responding to a participant questioning whether Taiwan's decision to increase its military spending is provoking China, former dean of the National Defense University Management College Cao Xiongyuan says it must be understood that Taiwan has no intent to attack China. Rather, it is the PLA that is the aggressor. He warns that it is very dangerous to waver on the determination to defend ourselves. The Foreign Ministry stated Tuesday that the attendance of certain Taiwanese citizens at China's military parade is antithetical to mainstream public opinion in Taiwan and fails to represent Taiwan's position in the international community. The announcement comes in response to news that former KMT chairperson Hong Xiuzhu traveled to Beijing to attend China's parade commemorating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Regarding this matter, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Xiao Guangwei stated that while the superficial justifications for this gathering of authoritarian leaders seem noble, the event raises concerns about the threats they pose to the rules-based international order. Xiao pointed out that China has used every possible means to suppress Taiwan on the global stage, in addition to continuously engaging in gray zone harassment. Premier Zhou Rongtai emphasized the need for routine negotiations between the executive and legislative branches to avoid confrontations escalating to constitutional interpretations. During a media interview on Wednesday following a recent cabinet reshuffle dubbed AI Action Cabinet 2.0, Zhou said the government team must accelerate decision-making, increase political sensitivity, and establish a new rhythm of governance. Zhou acknowledged that past interactions between the cabinet and the legislature often ended with votes, reconsiderations, or even constitutional rulings, which he described as unsustainable. He stressed that the cabinet will take a proactive role, seeking to normalize two-branch negotiations as a way to prevent political deadlocks. The cabinet reshuffles involving changes in 16 cabinet members reflects a shift in governance style, aimed at breaking stalemates and addressing domestic and international challenges more effectively. Zhou outlined 3 pillars for the new cabinet: industrial upgrading through investment and demand expansion, generational care including new tax cut and housing subsidies, and strengthening national capabilities including infrastructure, culture, sports, and regional industry development. Zhou highlighted the importance of cooperation with Legislative Speaker Han Kuo-yu to maintain smooth communication channels, appointing experienced ministers to frontline negotiations, and utilizing Cabinet Secretary General Zhang Chunhan for additional liaison. China has reportedly begun drilling near Dongsha Island within the waters claimed by Taiwan as its exclusive economic zone, prompting a strong response from the presidential office. Spokesperson Guo Yahui stated on Wednesday that Taiwan's national defense and security agencies are monitoring the situation and conducting risk assessments to ensure an effective response. According to reports from U.S. think tanks, China has installed drilling platforms in disputed waters only about 48 kilometers from the restricted waters of the Dongsha Islands. Experts warn that historically sustained protests from countries like Vietnam have managed to stop Beijing's expansion, while silence risks turning incremental salami slicing of sovereignty claims into a norm. The presidential office noted that China's recent activities in the exclusive economic zones and continental shelves of South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, and other South China Sea countries violate the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, disrupt international order, and bring uncertainty to regional stability. Guo urged China to clarify its intentions and immediately cease illegal installations and extractions across all regional economic zones. Taiwan pledged to strengthen cooperation with other affected countries in the region to address the issue and safeguard peace and stability in nearby waters.
In the days leading up to the Chinese Communist Party's September 3rd military parade, anti-communist slogans were projected onto a high-rise in Chongqing University Town on the night of August 29th, marking one of the boldest acts of dissent in recent years. The giant messages, including "Only without the Communist Party can there be a new China," "Freedom is not a gift, it must be reclaimed," and "Down with red fascism, overthrow the Communist Party's tyranny," remained visible for more than 50 minutes on the night of August 29th before police intervened. The protest's initiator, 43-year-old Chi Hong, had carefully prepared the act weeks in advance. He checked into a hotel apartment near University Town in early August, concealing a high-powered projector and a surveillance camera in the room. For days, he tested the devices by projecting harmless phrases onto nearby buildings. He then left China with his wife and daughters and flew to the United Kingdom. On the night of the protest, August 29th, he remotely activated both the projector and the camera, which recorded police as they raided the room and discovered the equipment. In interviews with overseas media, Xi said he was deeply inspired by the 2022 Sitong Bridge protest, when physicist Peng Lifa unfurled banners in Beijing declaring, "We want votes, not leaders." Peng is reportedly serving a 9-year sentence on charges of picking quarrels and provoking trouble. Observers widely see the Chongqing projection as a continuation of that act of defiance. Xi told foreign media he could not accept the CCP's hate education, particularly propaganda aimed at the United States and Japan. He accused the government of distorting history and promoting politicized nationalism to shape young people's values, weaken their hope for the future, and erode tolerance. Joey Chow for RTI News.
Thank you for listening to This Week in Taiwan. My name is Cyrus Xu. Until next time.